And welcome back to Realtor Reacts, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about buying sight unseen with Jerry and Linda, the Village's newcomers, and Gizmo. Um, this core video is approximately 31 minutes and 26 seconds in length. I'm going to do a little selective editing here just for the sake of time. I do apologize. I love every minute of Jerry and Linda's content. I do. But I try and keep these videos around, 30-ish minutes. And with a lengthy video like that, and then I'm doing reactions in addition to it, we're going to get up around an hour real quick if I don't. So without further ado, let's jump right in. This is a mailbag episode, I believe, based on the title card. So let's jump in here and get started.
Hi, everybody.
Hello there.
I'm Jerry.
And I'm Linda, and this is Gizmo.
We're the newcomers. We bring you a show every week to tell you about our life here in Central Florida. We live in the Villages. Lots of stuff going on. We want to remind you that this information and all the things you're going to hear today are mostly our interpretation, our opinion, and we just want you to know that going in. You'll want to verify any important information yourself. On today's show, that new bridge, the Bexley Bridge down by Southern Oaks Golf Course,
Right.
that bridge is almost finished. We're going to give you a progress update.
And is the weather here good or bad for arthritis?
Great question. Water filters. We get this question all the time. Do you need one here?
Stucco walls or siding? Which is better?
And which is the best coast to visit from here? Would it be the East Coast or the Gulf of Mexico? We'll talk about that a little bit. And if you want to stay around, we got a puzzle at the end that we'd like for you to take a shot at. I'll add more coming right up. Hit it, Wally.
Send us your questions, we've got your answers. Jerry and Linda's Mailbag Monday.
Our weather has...
So we're probably not going to stick around to do the puzzle at the end. Let's see here. We have some chunks. Okay, so we can probably jump over live entertainment. That'll save us about 5 minutes. Let's jump into sight unseen here.
And that is a
quick edit, right? Immediately when I hit the button, I went into a commercial, not once, but twice. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back in.
great question. You know, buying a house sight unseen?
I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, we did it, and but we were lucky because we had some friends that were here during the open house and came through and kind of looked at it with the realtor or the sales agent. So we were pretty happy with that. That's what you're going to need to have is a friend, somebody here to go through the house for you, maybe.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, those cameras that the realtors use and the sales agents, they make that place look humongous.
Yeah.
That lanai is so big, and you get here and it's not very big lanai. You got a little fancy lens on that camera. The refrigerator looks like it's that wide. You get here, it's just a regular refrigerator. Yeah. Very deceiving. It's better to see it in person. Then you get to see the neighboring houses. You know, right. Do they have a lot of yard art? You know, or do they keep up their home? Lots of things to be involved. Are you in a good area, you know, as far as shopping and whatnot?
Right.
So we had some people come by and look at this house, and then we made an offer. But we wrote, hey, we'll make this offer, but we want a week to come down and see it. Yeah. We were going to fly down. Yeah. And they said, no, we'll give you 3 days. Really? So we stepped it up. We rushed down. We took a look. She fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. We bought it. Yeah. But we did get to see it. But still, in that little whirlwind, we didn't get to see a whole lot.
No.
Some people now are coming down and renting for a month, really checking everything out.
Checking it out. That's the best idea.
The problem is when homes come up for sale.
Okay. Based on my facial expressions, right? I've got a lot to say on this. Geez, I don't even know where I want to start here. Using a scout. Linda is putting forth the idea of having a friend on site to kind of walk through the home. The issue that you run into when you're using a scout as opposed to being here in person is the scout, with all the best of intentions, doesn't really truly know your taste or how you're going to react to that spatial awareness, right? How you're going to feel about that. I had a situation, a customer of mine, one of my best customers, has a friend who's now our friend too, but at the time I didn't know her as well. And they were looking at buying a $750,000 house, Gardenia, on a golf course with a pool. Right. This was a different market, so if that number seems a little low to you for that setup, this was several years ago, but I was sweating bullets as an agent because, much like Jerry had said, we're walking through, we're doing the video thing, we're doing the Zoom, right? And she's on the other side, and you can't really get a feel for the space in its totality, even with the streaming capabilities that we have. I know that my lens distorts. I know that it throws shadows. Um, there's a variety of different settings that you can utilize on this equipment. Um, and it's not that anybody's deliberately trying to misrepresent the proportions of the interior or the exterior. It's just I'm not a tech wizard. I don't know how to tune that up to be more accurate to the human eye, right? But that aside, yeah, doing a video tour is not anywhere near close to as recommended as being here in person. Okay, so that's one. Um, in that story, they were purchasing sight unseen. They sent my customer along with me to review the property, and I'm sweating bullets because this is a big purchase. At the time, this was the top of the market, right, on the price scale. And I'm really, I don't like I don't like it when we rely solely on my interpretation or the scout's interpretation of the property, particularly when we're spending this kind of money. And so the entire time I was waiting for them to come down and view the property themselves and give me the final word. Um, I was sweating bullets because we went to contract. We did the negotiations. We had the sight unseen contingency in there. And we're going to talk about that here in a moment. But yeah, I was praying that they were going to love the house, and there's no reason that they shouldn't have. But people have personal tastes, and people have quirks. Okay, and there's no way that I am going to anticipate um, every little minute thing that is important to you when you're looking at a home. I can't magically transport myself in your mind and look around. That's probably for the best for everybody, right? so, so it all worked out in the end. They loved the house. They bought the house. They're still in there today. As a matter of fact, I got a call from her recently. She was buying some new furniture and wanted to know if she could utilize me and my vehicle to transport some, and I was happy to accommodate her. You buy a $750,000 house from me, yeah, we're probably going to be best friends forever. So that's that. Sight unseen, the addendum, right? And kind of going back to what Jerry and Linda were saying at the beginning, you shouldn't do that. You can. Sometimes circumstances don't allow you to be here when the right home comes on the market. Okay. And where this typically comes into play is when we're looking for something very specific. And when it comes on, it's usually something very specific. Sometimes it's very rare in the marketplace. And oftentimes it's highly desirable. Okay. And thus it's going to come on the market, and there's people waiting to buy this home. They're just watching the market and they're waiting. And, if you're not here when it happens, and there's no way to predict when it's going to happen, right? Accurately, there's no way to predict accurately when it's going to happen. Um, you're kind of put in this position where, you might have to do a sight unseen, right? Is it safe to do it contractually? Yes, if the seller is being reasonable. In Jerry and Linda's case here, I don't know, if I remember correctly, Jerry and Linda bought at a time when there was very little inventory in the market. Thus, the seller really had the advantage in the negotiations. I probably would not have advised them to move forward with that at that time under those conditions, but I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what the circumstances were. I'm happy that it worked out for them in the end and that they love their home currently, but all the things that they said were true, right? You don't get a chance to assess the neighborhood. I was a little concerned when, we don't have a spatial awareness, Jerry and Linda here don't have a spatial awareness of, the shopping availability, the surrounding amenities, right? I would have hoped that some time would have been invested in educating either ourselves as customers or agents spending some time with their customers, talking about the location pros and cons and setting realistic expectations about what's available in the immediate area. I know that's not always the case, but I like to think that we could invest that time to have that conversation, because you're really flying blind, right? Contractually, sight unseen, the addendum essentially is, within a given time frame. Usually it's 2 weeks. It doesn't have to be 2 weeks. Everything's negotiable in a contract. Let me restate that. Most elements are negotiable in a contract. You come down and you make a final determination, right? Either you're going to move forward with the contract or you're going to pull out. Okay. And the reason that it's 2 weeks is because you're pulling the home off the market, right? And the seller may not be too keen on that, right? Because you can walk with your escrow deposit if the home isn't exciting to you, right? And you don't really need any other reason aside from, no, I've just decided this home isn't for me. Okay. And that's really the meat and potatoes of it, right? Sight unseen, circumstantially, sometimes it's not only the best call, but it's the only call. Okay, particularly if you're looking for something for a prolonged period of time that is rare in the marketplace, and you're not going to get a lot of opportunities to, put in an offer on it. So let's jump back in here. See what else we have going on here. I'm interested about this stucco versus siding conversation, and I've got something to say about the coastal thing too. All right, here we go.
Here. In the past, it was you better pull the trigger or you're going to lose that house.
That's right.
But today, we know people that have had homes for sale for quite a while, and they're still for sale. So it's not the seller's market that it was. Buyer beware.
This is from Kim and Marna. We have been watching home listings online and have seen several that say they have a full home water treatment system. First of all, does that mean they have just a filtration system, or are there water softening systems? Do you think either of those systems are a must-to-have feature? Well, I think the filtration, for me, is a must-have. We do not have the softener. We used to have it back in Indiana for a while, but we stopped it. I definitely think the filtration is the most important thing.
Yeah, but the water is safe. It's safe to drink right out of the faucet. It meets the standards.
Yes.
It tasted okay to me. She had a little higher standard for water than I did. But yeah, you may want to get a water filter system. Now they come, in fact, that's one of the things they warn you about when you move here. Yeah. They tell you that people will prey on you, knocking on your door, trying to sell you these really expensive, in the thousands of dollars, water treatment systems. We bought one called a Nova system. We're not paid by them.
Nope.
But we like it. It was $595. I think they're a little bit up now, like everything is. But it's a good system. It has 3 filters, and gradually it purifies the water.
Right.
And we don't even need a filter in our refrigerator now.
Not anymore.
So that's all we have. We don't have the water softener, and we don't miss it. Over the long haul, maybe our shower heads will clog or something. But and she does gripe. Well, let me just say. Well, I don't know if we gripe, but I guess she did.
Somebody send Jerry a shovel. He's got a hole to dig himself out of. Water treatment, personal preference, right? There's no direct answer to this. The water comes. Well, the Villages is a big place, and there's at least 2 different water providers, right? And then things are set up a little differently on the north end than they are in the central sections. I don't think that any major changes occurred in the southern sections, but I'm not keeping a detailed record of the water situation from area to area. Yes, something that a home inspector that I tend to work with regularly said kind of stuck with me on this, right? The Villages doesn't have bad water. They have really good water treatment salesmen. Okay. It's a personal preference. It's thousands of dollars. Now, here's the thing. Does it add value to the resale? In some cases, right? But in most cases, not. Are we going to factor that in, when we're doing a comparative market analysis for the sale? Probably, but it's going to be, if you got $5,000-$6,000 invested in that water treatment system, and that's a lot, right? It's probably going to be something like maybe $1,500 to $2,500 of value translated. Interesting thing, I have a listing out there on the market right now where we have some type of water treatment system in the house. The person that I am working with has never occupied the home herself. So she doesn't really have any information on this system. I pulled all the records I could find physically present on the unit. We try to look it up by serial number, by manufacturer. All it says is water treatment. So I don't know if it's a softener or a filter. It's a big cylinder. It's just a big cylinder. And so I have no idea what it does, right? It's kind of an awkward situation to be in as a realtor because naturally people are going to have questions, right? And in this particular case, I don't have an answer. It's fun. It's certainly fun. So that's the answer there, right? It's a matter of personal preference. And if you have the money and you need it a little softer, if you feel like the flavor isn't quite right or the density, or if you're getting a lot of lime buildup, whatever the case is, make the investment. Make the investment for your own comfort. That's all we can really say about it, right? All right, let's jump back in here. Gizmo is such a handsome fella down there.
Oh,
About the laundry.
yeah, the laundry. I don't feel like the clothes are getting as clean as I want them to be. I don't think the whites are as white as they should be. So I always put the extra water cycle on, and I rinse it again, which I feel like I'm wasting water. That really, and electricity. So
I mean, we're wearing T-shirts all the time. What it doesn't. I mean, they're clean, right?
yeah,
They're just not as bright.
Yeah.
Maybe as
Yeah.
you'd like, but they're clean. I mean, our underwear might be a little dingy, but no, who sees our underwear? Nobody sees our
I
underwear.
don't want to wear dingy underwear, Jerry.
So it's up to you, but the water is drinkable.
Yeah.
If you want it perfect, you're going to have to get some kind of filtration system.
Quick cut there. Jerry and Linda were answering a question around pool noodles. I don't have much to say on that particular topic. I've got a nice, robust midsection, so I float just fine. All right, let's jump back in.
In Wisconsin. I'm inquiring your opinion. If you were buying a home and your concern was time and distance to a square or to a grove, he's probably meaning sawgrass grove, where would you look and what would be your limit?
Okay, we get this question once in a while because people think the Villages is small. The Villages is huge.
Yes.
If you want to live close to a town square, it's going to be tough. You might live within a 5-minute golf cart ride or a 3-minute golf cart ride. To walk to a town square, difficult.
Yeah.
So which one would we live by? There's a neighborhood named Collier that we like.
Yes.
It's pretty close to Brownwood, but still it would be a good 5 or 6 minute cart ride down there. Alden Bungalows and Antrim Dells,
Yes.
and Atwood Bungalows.
Atwood bungalows. Yeah, I think you said it.
They're all pretty close to Brownwood. Then you go up to Sumter Landing, you've got those lakeshore cottages. They're right there. You could walk over from there.
Yeah.
But the neighborhoods like Caroline, that would necessitate crossing Morse Boulevard.
That's true. Yeah.
And a lot of the neighborhoods would necessitate that you come up Buena Vista or Morse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not really doable
right.
for many people.
And for Sawgrass Grove, you have all the little villages down around the Sawgrass Grove or St. Catherine, what was it, Case and Hammock, that area. So which one do we prefer? I don't know. We like our Brownwood area.
I like all the town squares. They all have something different to offer.
They do.
But listen, if you want to walk to one, you're going to have to either cross a busy road like Morse or Buena Vista often, or you'll have to walk through the tunnel. And that is kind of frightening because people whip around there and drive through the dark tunnels, and I don't like that either. So I don't know. Good question, but tough to do.
Okay. I've spoken about generalists and specialists before on the channel. So a long time ago, I kind of developed a grading system, right? Location grading systems. And, you know, here again, this is going to be a matter of personal preference, right? Being close to a town square, in my experience, from my observations, usually that desire comes from familiarity, right? Being comfortable with something. You come on the lifestyle preview plan, you're immediately exposed to the town square. Even if you come for a vacation, a couple weeks, maybe a month, right? You get the impression here in the villages that the town square is like the central hub of everything, right? Not necessarily true. Okay. In reality, any location in the villages suffices to produce the lifestyle that you're purchasing, right? Now, I say that fully understanding and realizing that there are a different number of facilities within a square mile, right, in different locations, right? You have more density of facilities in different sections of the community. But with the grading system, it essentially is based on the town square because a lot of folks, particularly folks who are out-of-state buyers who are coming into the villages, that's kind of their focal point. That's what they're familiar with, and so they naturally want to gravitate and be as close to that as they can, right? Certain neighborhoods are A grade, okay? Jerry and Linda did an excellent job of naming a number of those neighborhoods in the different sections. They didn't mention Spanish Springs and kind of the neighborhoods abutting that, but that's okay. Some of those neighborhoods are what are called specialty neighborhoods, right? Where they had souped up courtyard villas that were sold at a premium. And then the one over on Lake Sumter Landing, those homes were previously used as LPP accommodations, and then they were sold off several years ago to private owners. And oh boy, that was a fun time. So A neighborhoods are going to abut town squares. B neighborhoods are going to be just underneath the A neighborhoods. And the majority of neighborhoods or villages, if you like, are going to fall into that B category, okay, which is middle of the road, right? Then you have C neighborhoods, right? C neighborhoods are pretty far from a town square, right? When you look at the realistic traveling that you're going to be doing, what I always tell folks is, listen, if you desire to be in a C neighborhood for whatever your reasoning is, it's close to family, friends, it's what you're familiar with, right? Then you simply switch from the golf cart to the car, and your drive time is pretty similar to a town square, right? It doesn't really live up to the golf car community aspect of the villages, right? But there are practical solutions here. And that's really what it comes down to. Now, why does that grading system exist? Because the closer you get to a town square, you start to pay a premium, right? For location, for convenience, okay? It's not a formal premium, right? It's an informal premium. That's going to reflect in the housing prices. It's usually about $8,000 to $10,000, right? And most people, it exists because people will pay it, right? To be close to a town square for all the motivating factors that I've outlined here. I don't have any personal preference myself. I think all the town squares are great. I think they're all unique. I think they all bring something different and special to the community. Everybody's going to have their preference. All right, let's jump back in here.
Here's a question from Linda Hatcher. Linda writes, how's the Florida weather on arthritis? The Arkansas winters are getting colder and it's brutal on my arthritis. Thanks.
I remember brutal. Indiana had some brutal winters, and it hurt.
I just want to pause for a moment. I have arthritis in both of my hips. I'm only 41, so it's like, quit whining, you baby. I get it, right? The winters here are actually really pleasant, okay? And I don't mean to jump in front of Jerry and Linda on this, right? But they're actually very pleasant. Do we have winters that can drop down to, below 30 degrees, get close to zero? Yes, it's happened. I've had one winter, just one, that we seem to spend a very long time in like that, 10 to 15 degree range. And it was bitter. It was a bitter winter. But it's only happened the one time. And I think this summer is a great characterization as well of this, right? The opposite side. This summer has been brutal in terms of heat, and no rain, no real relief. And it's just like, I go out, I pull down the open house sign. I'm only out there for like maybe 3-4 minutes pulling down the open house sign. But man, I will find myself standing in the air-conditioned house thinking to myself, I really don't want to do that. I really don't want to go out there. And inevitably, within that 3 or 4 minutes, I come back in and I'm wet, right? Humidity, heat, it's hot. It happens. So let's jump back in here. I don't mean to laugh about the arthritis thing. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I get where this question is coming from. I don't think she has anything to really worry about. Here we go.
My hands terribly. I might have arthritis, think in my fingers, and it hurts. So I love Florida weather. I love it. I still get cold in December and in January, but it is so much better the rest of the year.
I did a little research, and the research says there is no scientific evidence to say that one climate is better for your arthritis than another.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they said. But I'm with you because I remember when you're cold and you go out, you remember how your fingers feel when they get cold?
You just can't move
Oh,
them.
they hurt. Yeah. But here, it seems like you can warm up faster. I mean, you go out, you don't have, I just don't have that problem.
Right.
I do have a little bit of arthritis.
And I think here too, you're moving, and that's the key. Moving for your fingers and your legs, your joints. Movement helps arthritis. So, and you're active here. This is from Denise and Mike. My wife and I watch your videos every day. Woohoo! We are coming down in July for a lifestyle visit, and we were wondering, which coastal area do you like best, the Gulf or the Atlantic? Thank you for the wonderful videos. Well, we like both. There's pros and cons to both areas for sure. I like the Gulf. It has doesn't have the white or sandy beaches on the Gulf.
How would we know? We don't ever go.
That's the truth. We thought, we're going to go to the beach like once a month.
His fault.
Every other month or something. Well, no, we haven't. But we have been to Cocoa Beach, and that's on the Atlantic side, and it was beautiful.
Been to Cocoa Beach, Daytona Beach, Clearwater Beach.
Yeah.
They're all great. I kind of have a fondness for the Atlantic beaches because those are the first one I ever went to.
Yeah.
I never went to Florida until I was in college, and we took a trip down there, and it's kind of neat. Yeah. It's kind of Florida feeling over there. The Clearwater area is good, and they've got lots of nice beaches all down through there.
Yeah. Well,
so,
isn't
potato?
One has more seashells, don't they too?
They say down by Sanibel and Captiva Island. And,
so Gulf Coast has more seashells?
Yeah, I don't know about more, but people collect them down there. Sanibel Island's known for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
All right. It's up to you. 2-hour drive either way.
Either way. If you're in the middle, you can go this way or that way.
Yeah.
I have an opinion. just my opinion. I'm not a beach nut. I want to put that out there right up front, okay? I just told you a story about how hot it is. There's no shade on the beach. so, so we just got back from a trip down to Madeira Beach and Treasure Island. I love it down there. You know, hour and a half drive. I hate driving on the highway, but I'll make the trip for Treasure Island. It's just, there's something about that space. And we were driving through there recently, and I think I actually said it out loud to my wife in the car. You know, I said, I love coming here to visit. I would never want to live here. It's very much a tourist trap. Okay. But man, I love visiting, right? It's the architecture, the beachside feel, right? I've been to New Smyrna. I've been to Daytona, right? Daytona has a different vibe, okay? New Smyrna has a different vibe. New Smyrna has a little bit more, and this is just my opinion, right? Feels a little bit more, I don't want to say pretentious. It feels like there's more money influence in New Smyrna, right? When I go over to Treasure Island, right, it's very grounded people. It's great food. It's intelligently designed. You know, it's easy to navigate. It's not overly congested. And it's just a fun experience, right? That's over on the Gulf Coast. And so, yeah, we love it so much over there at Treasure Island. Like I said, my son literally asked to go there, and he chose that over going to Disney World. Granted, he goes to Disney World a lot, but still. All right, hopping back in here.
Beth and Todd Burns from Pickerington, Ohio have a question. We're trying to decide whether we want to buy a house with framing that has siding or concrete walls with stucco. Do you have any thoughts on this? Have you seen many houses with missing vinyl after a heavy windstorm? Are the framed houses just as strong as the concrete walls in a windstorm? When we were looking for a house, we ruled out siding. We wanted the concrete block and stucco. And part of that was just, you know, we didn't know what we were doing, but we know that hurricanes hit Florida, so we want a concrete block home, you know, something that'll stand up a little better. We're not sure that they do. I've asked this question to multiple people that know what they're saying, and they said it's all a matter of personal preference. The concrete block and stucco homes are a little more expensive, so you're going to pay more. But I do feel safer in it, whether it's true or not. It might be just psychological.
Maybe.
I like the look of them better as well.
I like it. We prefer it.
But they're not maintenance free like the vinyl. You know, we just had this home repainted.
Yeah.
You know, that's several $1,000s that you'll do every 6, 8, 10 years.
Yeah. And they all have to be power washed. Even the vinyl gets the little, you know, mildew on it. So you do have to power wash it, and we get bugs on our home. So we do have to do that too. But
the homes here are lightly power washed. It's not really a power blasting wash, but they do that. So which do we like more? We like the concrete block and stucco better. Is there any good or scientific reason behind it? No, we just like the way they look.
Right.
Okay, so let me hop in here real quick. This should come as no surprise, right? I've had numerous times throughout my career where the purchaser wants to rule out frame vinyl as an option. The problem with doing that is that you take away a lot of your options, like a lot. I don't want to put a percentage on it. It's a lot, okay? And, you know, part of the thing that we don't talk about a lot is when you're in the market to purchase a home, you're dealing with the inventory that is available in the time frame that you're looking, okay? And the goal a lot of the times is to find the right home to fit your needs. So when you take a good percentage of the options off the table by taking the position that you only want block and stucco or poured concrete cement, you could be shooting yourself in the foot. Now, that's on the home purchasing side of things, right? Obviously a matter of personal preference here, okay? Will frame and vinyl hold up as well in high wind situations? Probably not. It's not as dense, Okay. The R rating is similar, if not the same, right? In terms of efficiency, they're equal, right? But your concrete block stucco homes are going to fare better in a high wind event, right? Specifically, we're talking about hurricanes, right? But tornadoes are a different animal, okay? No matter what you buy in the villages, everything has wood trusses, right, in the roofing system. And a tornado is condensed. It's more powerful. It's more localized, okay, than your hurricane is. With hurricanes, you get gusts. With tornadoes, you get sustained, powerful winds, okay, and they will rip that roof right off. And it doesn't matter if you're in a frame home or a block home at that point. So, you know, that's my opinion of the reality of the situation. Okay, maintenance. Block stucco homes, yes, you have to paint them. The sun dulls the paint over time. Jerry's spot on with that, 6, 8, 10 years, right? If you don't address it, it will start to kind of powder a bit. The frame homes, you generally just have to pressure wash them, lightly pressure wash, as they were saying. Oh, excuse me, about twice a year, right? Before summer and after summer is usually a good time. You get grass clippings on there. You want to be a little careful with the block homes too, because it's not everywhere in the villages. I've noticed it. I don't know if I've noticed it more in the south or in the north. There's some, I guess it's iron, right, in the irrigation water that will cause this brown rusting to occur around the foundation. Okay, and you notice it more with the block homes because it tends to ingrain itself down there. You notice it with the frame vinyl homes too, but it really likes that concrete to kind of saturate and deposit. Um, yeah, there differences. Yes. Okay. Siding's less expensive. Stucco's a bit more expensive. With the stucco homes are only really built in the Courtyard Villa series, the Designer series, the Veranda series, and the Premier series. So if you're doing something seasonal, right, you're probably looking at frame vinyl. I can't think of 1-2 bedroom block home or pour concrete home that we've built since the 90s. There was a few in the 90s, but that was the custom built era. So there's really no rules for that era of construction. It was all the wild, wild west. All right, let's hop back in here. Okay, so Mailbag Mondays, as we discovered the last time we encountered a Mailbag Monday episode. On the back end, they've got a few more things going on. I kind of jumped ahead a little bit here just to see, what segments would make sense. They're going to go on to talk about, some bridges that are currently under construction, or a bridge that's currently under construction. Bear in mind, this is Realtor Reacts, not Realtor Review. I'm just looking at the tabs down at the bottom that kind of guide the conversation. But the video is already going a bit long, and I don't want to do a two-parter on this particular one. We've already covered quite a bit in this episode on various topics. So I'm going to go ahead and elect to wrap up here for this week. Listen, I hope you got a lot out of this particular one. I'm sorry we're filming at night. We got very busy this weekend. I normally try and film, no, not film, but record when the sun is up for lighting purposes. Wasn't possible this time, unfortunately. If you want to see the rest of this video or any other videos, please go check out Jerry and Linda's channel, Villages Newcomers. They're amazing. I always enjoy their content. That well-deserved subscriber count there. Take care of yourselves. Take care of others where you can. Thanks for joining us here on Realtor Reacts. We look forward to seeing you next week. Oh, right about now, my wife, I have no idea where my hands are spatially in the camera here, should be putting, what are we calling these things? Tabs, right? Other videos you can enjoy on the channel should be right about here and here. So, Christine, while you're putting that up, make sure you do that. please. Okay. Otherwise, I look really foolish doing this at the end of the video. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great one. We'll see you next week.